Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Photography podcast. And I am here today. So, unfortunately, it's only just me. So, Ian isn't feeling very well today, but I have got a special guest with me today. I've got Adam from Theme Park World Tour. So, hi, Adam.
Hello, mate. Nice to talk to you.
Hi,
Been a
Adam. How
while.
you doing? Yeah, it has. It's been a really long time, isn't it?
Yeah, we talk in slightly crazy times, or we can't even go to a theme park. But so we might as well talk about them instead, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, actually, we'll just talk about. So, we've delayed the podcast a little bit just to listen to the Queen's speech, didn't we? So, what a crazy time it is at the moment.
No, I know. She was like talking about a lot about the generation, and she talked back to I guess wartime, and the Blitz spirit and kids being sent away, which is kind of crazy because at the moment loved ones aren't able to see each other, and it's kind of a slightly similar situation in a certain degree as to when she was taking charge back in 1940, I think she was
Yeah,
talking.
it was crazy. I mean, what a time at the moment. So how's it treating you at the moment?
It's all right. I'm quite actually I work in home entertainment in my real job, and so
Yeah,
actually that's suddenly become quite an important thing. There's no cinemas open, so a lot of the films are getting kind of flipped onto iTunes and Netflix, and that's all like a really big part of my job.
oh wow.
Working. So you can imagine like I've kind of gone from a team of ultimately just me doing it, to quite a few people now
Yeah,
kind of working with me and trying to just trying to get through that situation. Really, it's quite challenging for a film company who predominantly release films at the cinema.
yeah,
Obviously we're all working from home and different people isolating here and there. I'm finding it quite hard to switch off. I don't know about you, Paul, but
yeah.
yeah,
It's very difficult. It's kind of like so I basically kind of start kind of winding down from tomorrow really. So I've been working up to that point. So yeah, it's really hard. It really is difficult to accept it, to be fair.
yeah. I end up watching the news or working, and that's about it. Or maybe editing a video, which I'm sure we'll talk about a bit more. But
Yeah, we
yeah,
will.
quite hard to even watch a movie or that sort of thing at the moment. I just end up, my mind drifts back to all the current stuff going on. It is
Yeah,
crazy time, as you said.
it is. It's like the first thing I do at the moment is get up and check the statistics and what's going on.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
yep.
we're here to talk about something else to try and get the escapism away from literally what's going on in the world. So, uh, the first kind of question really is I want people to know about you, Adam. So, kind of who is Adam?
Oh, bless you. I don't know, really. That's a very broad, it's a broad question, but I'm a 40-year-old man who has a bit of an obsession with theme parks as well as different things in life.
Yeah,
And that's kind of how you and I met, I guess, kind of
yeah,
doing
it
the
was.
theme park stuff, which is cool. I have a little daughter who is about 7 years old now. And it's just been lovely to kind of start going to the theme parks with her. She's getting a bit bigger all the time, a bit taller. As you know yourself, you kind of got to wait for your kids to reach a certain height before they can
Yeah,
go on certain roller coasters. But we've been starting to do all that, and she's kind of getting into it. We spend quite a lot of time together. And that's been like a really great outlet for us as well. Do you know what I mean? Something that we can do together and enjoy.
yeah,
Pretty cool.
yeah. Definitely. I mean, I'm in the same, but we are so similar because I have a son which is also 7, and we're having to do the same thing. So I've been waiting desperately for him to get tall enough to go on some of the decent rides.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if about you, but going to some of the parks, which is sitting on some of the baby rides for so long gets a bit boring after time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of you still have a wicked day, but
Yeah,
yeah, like the first time I took her to Alton Towers, she's actually just got to 1.2. I didn't take her to Alton Towers until she was 1.2 meters.
yeah,
A park that I love from my own childhood a little bit, and that
yes.
was great. Like getting on Wicker Man with her and stuff.
Wow.
She was a bit shell shocked, to be honest with you, coming off Wicker Man. But we've done it again since. She does quite like it. But yeah, that day was weird because you're still looking over your shoulder, looking at Oblivion and the
Yeah,
Slider going round and some of the bigger rides and knowing that you can't go on them.
yes.
But that will change one day, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely so. And I think I was saying like before in some of my kind of videos that I've done, it
Yeah.
puts a different perspective on the day of a park when you go with your child compared to going with your friends or even on your own. It really does.
Yeah, and I think like for me, I suppose one of the best things about having kids is not kind of two things. One, getting to relive your own childhood a little bit. I think that just starts to happen inevitably. And secondly, you start to see things again through a child's eyes. which is just a wondrous, innocent thing. Do you know what I mean? Even it can be going through a sea life attraction, looking at some animals, or it can be going on one of the bigger roller coasters or a scary ride for the first time. And you get to kind of relive those experiences that you had all those years ago when you got first taken to a theme park or a fun fair or whatever it might be.
I agree.
I'm kind of the belief that everyone should do something that scares you every day, even if it's a little bit. Good for confidence and that kind of thing. And yeah, it's been kind of cool watching her, not so sure, do I really want to get on that ride? And even now, the bigger ride, she looks at the Smile. I'm never going on the Smiler, she says, and this sort of thing. But I bet we'll get there one day. And just herself up, and we'll probably all go on it. We'll see.
Definitely, and I think that's the great thing is you get to see it and kind of relive it with them and join them along with it. Yeah, so it is a magical time to go with children, go in your child and that as well. It really is. So definitely.
And yeah, kind of like made much like yourself, since kind of getting into doing theme park content, which we can talk about a bit more. Kind of made some really good friends out of it, And again, they've got kids. Not always kind of gone to park stuff with them. With some friends, I have Peter, who is Cassie's friend, Rob and Tina, whose parents from a channel called Coastosaurus. We've had some amazing days out with them, and also good friends with Marcus Gaines, who's managed to take his kids to some big theme parks as well. And it's just quite cool, really. It's like I wouldn't necessarily have thought that. I was saying this to someone the other day when I first kind of started doing what I do. From the theme park world, I never would have thought I'd have made all these friends, and Cassie would have been making friends, and that might be friends she has in 10 years time. And I find that's quite an incredible part of it all, really, and something right now that we're all sort of clinging on to a little bit. Do you know what I mean? We can't all see each other, be that at a theme park or be whatever it is that you're into in life. So we are kind of all using our social media and talking to each other, and people are starting competitions and quizzes every week, and people are trying to bake things and do that live on YouTube. It's been brilliant, actually, from that regard.
It has, and I'm really proud of the community for that, actually, because looking at every day, people are trying something different, and if the parks were still open, no one would have given this a chance.
No.
You wouldn't have had Sean baking a cake with his mom. You wouldn't have had Jordan doing theme park quizzes and different things. Me doing a stupid roller coaster, pretending I was on a roller coaster, and filming myself for the kids, and
love it.
I was really proud, really, of the actual community for that.
Theme Park Worldwide doing baking videos has been one of the funniest things I think I've seen on YouTube for quite a long time. And fair play for coming up with some different ideas, getting his mum involved, and doing some things to keep people entertained. I think that's absolutely brilliant. What an entertainer!
I think she's been the star. She's been the star. But you are right. I mean, it calls for trying to think outside the box, and I think a lot of people are doing that. And it's great to see. People talk about the community sometimes. Sometimes being a bit of a pain, but stuff like this really just show that true colours, doesn't it?
No, it's really cool. It's really cool. Even I did a name that coaster video clip on my Twitter today. That's something I'd never do, but it's just kind of not jumping on the bandwagon, but people seem to be into that stuff. Definitely got a bit more time maybe to do some of that stuff. So it's nice to see.
Definitely
nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. So I just want to kind of go back to kind of where it all started for theme parks for you, Adam, really.
Okay, so it's a bit of a two-pronged question. So when I was a kid, you got to think, as I said earlier, I'm a little bit older than maybe your average roller coaster enthusiast. And it was a world where you didn't have social media, right? You had 4 channels on the TV, and you probably didn't actually learn that much about theme parks. And this is also a time where the first theme parks, certainly in Great Britain, were only just really starting to be built and be opened. Which is quite interesting. And so I just sort of used to see little snippets of maybe the parks in America, like Universal Studios. As a young sort of teenager, I was quite a big film fan. So all that stuff started to really appeal to me. But it was something like, from where I came from, very humble beginnings, something very much out of reach. I've got 2 older brothers, which were 9 and 14 years older than me. And when I must have been about 10 years old, my middle brother went to Alton Towers for the first time and got to go on the corkscrew. And I remember seeing this on like Blue Peter or on Newsround, something like that.
Yep.
Just being like, wow, look at that. Do you know what I mean? I've been to like fun fairs and stuff before. I think we've been to a family trip to Wixted Park. Somewhere I actually take my daughter now, which is quite nice.
Oh, nice.
And so it became like this little mission of mine as a 10-year-old boy, I have to get to Alton Towers one day. And eventually, I think it was about 4 years later, finally kind of got to go with a mate. I had a mate who was a few years older than me. He passed his driving test, and we went up there for a couple of days. And that was just around the time they were building Oblivion. And so Nemesis was open. And I vividly remember this. At the end of the day, all the coached school trips had gone home. And so all the queues died down, right? So our first ride on Nemesis, we'd queued for like well over 90 minutes to go on it. Blown away by the thing, absolutely shell-shocked, much like my daughter was taking on Wicker Man, I'd imagine. Just that complete, what the hell was that, you know? And then, we just went on it. At the end of the day, just kept going round and round the queue line and getting back on that ride. And it just all started to kind of really stick with me. And after that, it was actually just quite hard to go to a theme park. I went to a school trip on to Chessington and went on the Bubble Works. Pretty sure I went on Vampire that day. But these were just little tastes of kind of what I actually wanted to do, which was to try and go to a lot more of these parks and get a lot of these rides. I was always loved adrenaline. I was always trying to do things that would scare me. Always into extreme sports as a kid and that kind of stuff. So ultimately just loved the thought of, you know, things that might scare me. You know, I'm not trying to sound like all macho, like, or try and find something that scares me, but that was like a big part of it. And quite like that stuff. And then, to be honest with you, went off to university, girls, jobs, careers, not necessarily in that order, but you start discovering those things. Couldn't still really afford to go to theme parks, and other things were a priority. And then it's something that just slowly started to creep back into some of my subconscious. Do you know what I mean? Went to Thorpe Park just so I was getting married, and I was like, wow, I really want to do more of this stuff. It's really cool. And then kind of a few big things happened in my life, Paul, around the same time. In that became part-time single dad. I'd already lost my dad, and then unfortunately lost my mum. And decided really, you know, I had an opportunity to take a bit of time out. So I took a bit of time out of my job and just thought, I want to do something with my time. I want to do something creative. And I kind of just started to drift back to all those theme park ideas I had as a younger man, and thought, it'd be so interesting to do something about that. I'd always had this keen interest in photography. I work in the media, as you know, but never really held a camera. I ended up working in marketing, that kind of stuff. But always had a bit of a passion, wanted to learn photography. I had a video camera when I was about 14, and actually told my mum when I was 14 that one day, Mum, I'm going to make a documentary about Alton Towers. And kind of, so when I had this time, when she'd gone, I had this bit of time to myself, started researching like theme park videos, realizing that, wow, actually maybe YouTube could be an outlet to try and do this sort of thing. That Alton Towers video just started to come into my mind a bit. And it was very much like, right, how do I do that? And this is going back 3.5, 4 years. And just, I suppose a few cogs started into motion. And started to make theme park videos, basically. Does that answer your question? I don't know.
It does. No, it does. It's crazy how many people it all comes back to Alton Towers.
Right.
Like, I was in the same boat. I was saying on the last episode. It all started pretty much where we used to collect the Sun vouchers, and used to get free tickets. You know, and I remember it from there, and it's just crazy. The people that we talk to it's all Alton Towers that it all comes back to.
And I remember we went that first time, and then after that, made it a mission to go the next year. I think we went 3 years in a row, and I was definitely there around Oblivion opening. I think it was the first week. I don't know if it was the opening day. I can't quite remember. I don't think it was the opening day, which I may have said before, so that could be a miss. What's it called? False news. But we were there definitely within a few days of that ride opening, and then I didn't get to go to Alton Towers for quite a few years. But now it's like a pilgrimage. It's, you know, it's 2.5 hour drive away from me. I just kind of have to, if I don't go at least once a year now, like my daughter and I go every year around the same time without fail. And that's just been awesome. Do you know what I mean? That's now like a complete thing. If we didn't do that, something would be wrong.
Definitely. So what's your local park then?
Weird for me. I'm like quite equidistant between a lot of the big parks, but Chessington is probably the nearest. You get to Chessington in about 75 minutes. And then near Thorpe, maybe 10 minutes further away. Wixted's quite close. Wixted's in Kettering, which is a little bit closer. It's probably about 30, 40 minutes away. But they're kind of our local parks, really. Yeah, sometimes I kind of long to live a bit further north, not too far.
Yeah. I,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat me for being south, to be
No,
fair.
very true.
Yeah, and I mean Chessington. What a park that is. It's the one that the one that could, isn't it? The little engine that could. Every single time I go there, I have an absolutely fantastic
Yeah.
day.
No, it's a beautiful
You know,
park
it
and
is.
a very historical park. And, you know, I kind of have to talk about Mr. Wardley at this point in time. He's kind of the
Yeah,
man who brought the theme park to Great Britain. And
yeah,
Chessington was a zoo, and his kind of work with the swords kind of just transformed that place really into a theme park. And it still has those values today with the kind of the animals and the rides. And that's what I really love
yeah,
about it. And that's why I think I've never had a bad day there, because it doesn't matter what's going on. You know, we're not going to lie. All theme parks have bad days. Not everyone can afford fast passes and this sort of thing. So there'll be times where you
yeah,
can't go on that many things. But you'd be amazed at Chessington, tucked away in the little corners of that park, the different things you can do, which
yeah.
might take up a good hour of your time. Even though we did the
No, I
lorikeet
agree.
feeding the other day. That's one of our favourite things.
Wow.
And that's like you go through this little aviary. There's a couple of members of staff in there. They kind of help you, and the lorikeets will come and land on you and feed out little pots. And we did that. We spent about 20
Yeah,
minutes in there, and we came out, and she said, "Oh, can we go around again?"
yeah.
And that's like, you might call it an upcharge. I think it's £2 for a little tub of food, but that's not.
No, but you get some cracking
You
pictures
get some
for it.
amazing pictures, and you just have a
Yeah,
brilliant time. So it's like,
yeah,
it's like little things like that. I think are why Chessington is a bit of a golden nugget
yeah.
of theme parks. Yeah.
Let's stay on that because I haven't actually got this down, but let's stay on that. So I know that you were there for this year before it all went
Yeah.
closed, and I was there as well. I actually saw you
Oh,
that day, but you were just shot off as I was things. But what a difference this year they've made to
yeah,
that
it was
park.
lovely, wasn't it? It was really nice being there. Yeah, we got there a little bit late, just after the gates had opened, and that made a big difference as well. And we kind of thought, there's no one here. But you came around
Yeah,
the corner, and everyone had just sort of absorbed into the park. But they'd done
yeah.
up some rides like Tomb Blaster, which Nick and Andrew Porter and Bradley Hine. Is it Bradley Hine? I can never remember his second name. Bradley
I'm
Wynne.
not too
That's the
sure.
one.
Yeah.
They've
Uh,
been given a chance to
what
revamp Tomb Blaster, which none of the enthusiasts knew about, which I thought was really cool as well. Very,
I
very
didn't.
good.
I hadn't got a clue.
For some reason, excuse me, that park are better at keeping secrets than anyone. Which
Wow.
is a weird thing. But yeah, so they'd kind of revamped Toon Blaster. It looks so much better in there. Completely new soundtrack. And I don't know what other changes you noticed, but the park was just looking just much better kept. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't think it'd just come out of winter, put it that way.
Not at all. I mean, Toon Blaster, I didn't even know that was happening at all. I only found out by social media while being there
Right.
that
Okay.
day. And I was like, I need to get in there. Uh, you've also got, obviously, the rainforest area that opened up as well. I was quite lucky to get on them a day
Right.
after. And what a difference that was. But Vampire
Oh
as
yeah,
well. I don't know if
of
you
course.
did. I mean, oh my God, just from the entering that
Yeah.
queue line all the way through to even the ride itself, the motor on the just on the lift hills there was all
I love
changed.
it.
It was
It's
like,
become my daughter's favourite ride, right? And
yeah,
again, Andrew Porter had actually told her as we were staying outside. He said to her, "Make sure you have a little look in Vampire, see what we've done." And she was pointing out all the changes to me, and I just thought that was so
yeah,
cool that in the last 2 or 3 years, that's become her favourite ride. And she knows little things about it. And as soon as we walked into the organist section, she's like, "He never had a V on his back. He never had a V on his back." Like from 100 meters
yeah,
away, she knew that. And I thought, this is so cool. And what, just does make a
yes,
difference to people, doesn't it? I find that interesting.
yeah. I was like, I just couldn't believe the actual feel of the ride. It felt like a new
Yeah.
ride. It really did.
Operationally, it was a lot better. I get
Uh,
held in that tunnel so many times, and that hasn't happened at all. Didn't seem to be happening that day. It
no,
was much smoother experience all round. And I don't know how
yeah,
much they must have spent, but I'd like to think it isn't that much. Maybe that just goes to show that a little bit of TLC, a little bit of care and attention here and there, makes a
yeah,
massive difference. Certainly to the people that go to your parks all the time, because the day we're talking about was annual pass holders day.
yeah.
But yeah, nice day all round. Everyone seemed quite happy that day.
Yeah, it was. It's just a little nuggets of treats that they were giving, as you go around, like, Toon Blast, and it was like, wow. Vampire, wow, the rainforest area. You just went, you know, it was just going round, just going. They've done it. They've really tried. You know, they really have
Even
tried.
the dragon was working outside Dragon's Fury, but there wasn't any mist coming out of his nose. So I'll give them 1 -point for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a standard thing that my son does. He runs straight up to it, plays with the coin until it comes out.
She'd never seen it before for some reason. But she waggled the coin, it came out, and she must have run about 10 yards back. A bit wary what was going to happen.
It's brilliant.
Cool.
Yeah, I do like it. So let's go to your kind of theme park list, and then we'll just talk about like favourite rides and favourite parks as well. So, you know, where have you visited? I know you've done some America trips, and I want to talk about that separately in a bit. So you've done some Europe trips as well, haven't you?
So I've been to Phantasialand in Germany, which is a brilliant park. I'd love to get back there actually at some point. This is the problem as well. You go somewhere and then you think, really, I need to go somewhere else. I'm like technically supposed to be on a world tour. That's what the channel would like you to believe, anyway. But yeah, you kind of think I want to go back to that park, but really I should go to another park first. But yeah, I've been to Phantasialand. We've been to Legendia in Poland. I was actually looking at a bit of footage from Lech Coaster today, which is pretty awesome ride. And also Energylandia out there as well, which is a ridiculous theme park, really, which we could do a whole episode on and talk about that.
We're good. And I think we probably will at some point, because I mean, I love that park, I really do. And I had a trip planned in the next few weeks to go, and obviously, unfortunately, that's been cancelled. But that place is amazing.
It is absolutely crazy. And then been to Cedar Point and Kings Island in Ohio. Actually, had a ride with you on Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point.
Yeah. I've got that as a question.
Right, we'll leave that for a minute.
We'll leave that for the moment.
Quite a nice road trip to California, where we went to Six Flags Magic Mountain, and this is all around sort of Halloween as well. So you sort of get a lot of time, 2 bites of the cherry. You've only got daytime and evening stuff. So we did Six Flags Magic Mountain, Knott's Berry Farm, went to Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, which was a bit of a red letter kind of experience, I think, all around. And Legoland in California, and also Universal Studios Hollywood, which was somewhere I'd wanted to go for a very long time. As I said, when I was a kid, it was like the Universal parks. They've been running for a very long time, those parks. The history of them is absolutely fascinating. But yeah, I always wanted to go to one of those parks. And so to get to go on the Jaws ride and that kind of stuff. Or to see it on the Hollywood tour, so not the actual Jaws ride, but you know what I mean. To see Jaws come out of the water on the tour was just phenomenal. Yes. Proper hairs on the back of my neck went up. And I was filming that as well. No,
just little things.
Knowing that I had one chance to get to film it. So you kind of want to get that right, but I was also trying to enjoy the moment. So that was quite interesting. The footage came out quite well, and I had a good time, so it must have worked.
Good. Definitely. For me, I think Coomba was one of them rides that every holiday brochure you looked at in Florida, the Coomba kind of corkscrew was always there, and I remember having pictures of that ride. And when I went to Florida last year, that was the ride that was like, I'm standing here, and this was the ride that I saw for so long. I had
that a bit with Superman the ride. That was one I'd always read about and seen things about it. That was the first ride in the world to go 100 miles an hour. I was always a bit obsessed with that as a kid. Get into a car or something that went over 100 miles an hour. And so the fact there was a roller coaster that did it was quite exciting. I doubt that it reaches that speed anymore, but we did get to go on it. And just standing there was just so cool, coming up to see the branding, the S on the ice caves. It's just wicked. And that's one thing about that park. Like the intellectual property they have, the movie brands, again, a bit like Universal. It's just it's a cool thing.
Yeah, I actually have that as a question because I was watching one of your vlogs, and you state that on one of your vlogs that it's actually is it the top fastest coasters in the world? And you said on there that Superman the ride, you don't think it'll be about 100 miles an hour now. What makes you believe that?
I feel like these rides start to wear out a little bit. And I'm not a technical expert, and could be shamed by anyone with a greater knowledge of engineering than me. But I just think a ride that gets that old, no matter what you do with it, be it motors or the track, or the other many different components of that ride, surely. And people I've ridden it with, I think Marcus has ridden that ride before, and just felt I kind of hear on the grapevine that it doesn't go that fast anymore. So that's why I stated it in the video.
No, because I actually
Okay.
agreed, and that's why I wanted to ask you the question because one thing that obviously people talk about is the height, so
Yeah, yeah,
400 feet. It never even hits
yeah.
anywhere near that. I mean, it literally hits halfway up. So when you kind of said on your video that it was, you reckon it doesn't go 100, it kind of made it
Right. Okay,
clicked
okay.
with me to go. Actually, I think I agree with you on that sense because it doesn't go anywhere near
There'll
where
definitely
it
be
used to.
footage, I reckon, of that ride if you go back a few years, and you'll see that the train is getting further up that track. There's a bit of a partition of colour, isn't
Yeah,
it? It changes colour at a certain point. And so yeah,
correct.
I'd
Yeah,
imagine it goes up. And someone also told me, I never knew this, that there was a Superman figure up there at one point in time when the seat faced a
there
different
was.
way or
Yep.
whatever. And yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it did. And it could even be that when the seats moved the other way, they just obviously couldn't shoot it off as
right,
quick or
okay,
something like that. You
that's
never know.
interesting.
Uh, Hence why they have them stupid arm bars on the
Right,
side
okay,
of them
okay.
now
But it's a cool ride. I
because
love
of
the
the
fact you
trains.
could, like,
Yeah,
from a lot of different places in that park, you hear it when it's about to go, whether you can see it or not.
yeah,
And I find that was just quite cool. It's this, just yeah, it's a bit of a monster. It's a bit of a monster.
yeah.
Yeah,
It is, isn't it? Did you do the drop
yeah,
tail
yeah,
on the
yeah. We
slide
waited.
on the side
Like,
of
I
it?
don't actually
You
like those
did.
rides very much, and that is probably the most scared Marcus has ever seen me. Marcus from Coaster Touring. He was laughing quite a
Yeah,
lot. We were like hanging around it
yeah,
because it had been down most of the day, and I was in that sort of, oh look, it's down, don't worry about it, it's down, let's go and do, it's down, don't worry about it, let's go and do something else. And of course the bloody thing opens, and yeah, Marcus is like, oh look, we
yeah,
can just go through the exit, they've just opened, they're gonna let us through. I'm like, great, okay. I even tried to leave my
yeah,
sunglasses
I,
on, all sorts, just to try and delay the inevitable. Yeah,
yeah.
but
I don't like drop terrors, and I didn't like that one at
that
all when I went
one
on it.
and the Hangover at
Not at
Winter
all.
Wonderland in Hyde Park, both of those things do scare me, I have to admit. Apocalypse at Drayton Manor, I now found
Yeah,
quite an enjoyable experience, but the first time I did that, I was quite nervous on it. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
It's just the higher drop towers, they do get me. So yeah, I worry about that in the future. There's
yes,
some bigger ones, aren't there, which I'd quite like to try and go on.
yeah. But there's also smaller. I don't know if you've ever been to
No,
Pleasurewood
no, for
Hills,
some reason,
and
never been.
they've got a drop
Right.
tower there, and I've never been so literally that thing isn't that tall, but oh my god, it scared the
Every
hell
year I
out of
try
me.
and get around to going to that
Um,
park, and it doesn't happen. So maybe this will be the year. Let's hope.
I think so. The staff are absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic. They'll try and accommodate as
Okay.
best as they can. Uh, on ride filming, just anything that you need to. They'll make sure that your filming's ready for them before they start
That's
the road.
nice.
They're
Cool.
brilliant.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. You've just hit one of my questions afterwards, which is actually what ride scares you. Is there a ride that's
Yeah, it'd
actually
probably be
scared you
that.
at all?
And also, more so, will be X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. That's the only. Yeah, I
Is
think
that
it's
just
because
because
I'm
you're
quite. I just
it
think.
being
I think it's
brutal?
because I'm quite skinny. And
Yeah,
my leg just kept banging onto the bottom of the seat. As the train.
yeah.
Can you call it a train? I don't know. As it was spinning around anyway. If you don't know what this ride is, look it up.
It's just a car
It was.
crash.
I was screaming. I was literally screaming, probably coming down the final third of that whole ride. Just a bit like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
This is the most unenjoyable experience of all time.
yeah,
Yeah, so it was that. I couldn't
yeah.
believe how
I
bad it
agree.
was. I still can't.
Yeah, when I went over there, there was a English couple that was over there as well, and when they come into the station, they just went,
Yeah.
"It's brutal," and that's what. And I went, "Oh, that sounds bad." Anyway, the first drop, right, is fine. If you could stop the ride and get me
Yeah,
off,
I'd agree
then
with
I'll be
that.
more than
Yeah.
happy. Yeah, I have never been on a ride that has literally been so
It's funny
brutal
that, isn't it? Because I
ever.
was going up the lift hill
Uh,
thinking, oh, there were speakers in the seats. And I thought, this is all pretty cool. Quite like this. And you're right, the first drop's quite cool. And then that's it. That is it after that.
yeah,
It's horrendous.
that is one ride
Yeah,
I'd
me
never
too.
ever
And
go on
it
again.
takes a lot for me to
Never.
say that. And yeah, the Lex Luthor's Drop of Doom that we talked about, I'd go if I was next to it. Of course, I'd go on it again. Especially if I was there with friends, it would be a brilliant
Yeah,
experience. We'd all have fun. I'm sure I'd probably be slightly less scared than I was last time. But X2 is more because it's such a painful experience. It is, and it was
yeah,
genuinely scary. I had the biggest bruise ever on my leg the next day from ever riding on
yeah.
any kind of ride or fairground attraction. or anything. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, it is. You shouldn't have to feel that way going off a
There are
ride.
people
Definitely
that love
not.
it, and fair play to them, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
So there
No,
you go. Yeah,
I agree.
That one.
So what's your favourite park then?
That's a really tough question. That's a really tough question. Wow.
It depends
This
on
is
what
hard
you're
because I
after,
never
isn't it?
do top tens, and this I know a lot of roller coaster enthusiasts will have their top 10 parks, top 10 coasters, and that might be hypocritical of me, since we just referenced a video that I have on top 10 fastest roller coasters, but that's not my own personal preference, right? So yeah,
No.
it's tough. I've got this real soft spot for Alton Towers, and probably always will have. It's a pretty cool place, and that's just mainly for the nostalgia kick, I suppose. For the rides and the overall experience so far, just don't know. I kind of want to say Disneyland, but mainly because there was still so much Disneyland you didn't get to see. Like, we were there for like one day. We actually did two parks in one day, and was there with the Disney Imagineer, which is an amazing experience. And we had a day, but it just sort of meant, I wasn't like running off on my own schedule or whatever. I'm eternally grateful for the day that we had at Disneyland. But yeah, I'd like to go back there, put it that way. Of all the parks I've been to, if I could go back to one tomorrow, I'd go back to Disneyland, because there's just things I wanted to do and didn't get to do.
And that was a California one, wasn't it? I mean, I agree. It depends what you're after to say what your favourite park is, because I think I'm the same. I think I'm the same as you in saying that that's the same for kind of the top roller coaster as well. I can't really give a top roller coaster, because it depends. There's a lot of factors that make a difference on what is your top coaster. So I've always said this, that it depends on the day. It depends on who I was with. It depends on the queue. It depends on, the kind of the weather. There's a lot of things that determine what makes my best ride. So I can't really say 100% that is my top 5 or top things, because I could theoretically be annoyed myself that day, or I couldn't be with somebody that day. So you know what I mean. So there's loads of different variations.
I'll definitely say any park day out with my daughter would be very different to one if it was just me and you. Put it that way. Do you know what I mean? But I find the coaster one an easy one, and it would be Still Vengeance. And that would top that roller coaster for me. I've just found it utterly incredible. And again, it would be back to that. I've probably stolen one of your questions again. But yeah, me and you had this ride on it, and it was on the back row at night time. And it's one of the most vivid memories I ever have with being on a roller coaster, because there was a point where you just feel like you're free falling, and all you can see is this wood, the structure of the coaster just flying past you. And that goes on for a good 150 foot at quite a high speed. And it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
And that's just one element of a phenomenal roller coaster. There's nothing I've ever been on that has come close to that. So if one of your questions was about best roller coaster, that would be it.
Yeah. So we'll go on to us meeting in a bit then, but we'll talk about that Still Vengeance meetup. So it was a weird kind of time, wasn't it? So I was over in America. I was actually in Cedar Point, and then all of a sudden I saw a notification to say that you were there. Literally, no one knew about it. You just literally just went, I'm going to America, and we're going to stay, kind of stay thing. So I waited at the park, and then I said, right, I want to take you on Still Vengeance. And it was the first RMC you did, isn't it, if I remember rightly? So we waited a good, I don't know, was it an hour? I think it was probably an hour, wasn't it?
Yeah, we'd been at the park for about 20 minutes, straight off the plane.
Straight off the plane, straight into the park.
Yeah.
And I just remember saying to you, right, I want to take you on this, and I'm going to get you on the back row. And your face going down the drop, I wish there was a camera to film it. And I think, and I think I remember halfway round, we were either high-fiving or just doing something like crazy, because it was just like, this is
actually hugged,
life. This is
like on the coaster. Yeah,
yeah.
probably as we're
At the
going over
end,
the bunny hops or something, and it's quite
yeah.
funny.
It was just like unbelievable. It
You
just like
don't get
all come
many
together,
truly
didn't it?
euphoric moments in life. And I suppose for me, I'd been up for how many, God knows how many hours, right? Traveling and traveling, and to get on that,
Yeah,
and for it to be so mind blowing, and to get to go on it with you, do you know what I mean? Just meet a fellow British
yeah,
enthusiasts in the middle of Ohio. It's awesome, man. What a ride!
yeah, yeah. It was unbelievable. Um, I mean, I don't really have
Okay,
it as number one. And there was a few reasons for that, and I think they've changed a little bit since. It was there no bags, no cameras, no
yeah, I was
phones,
about to
no
say to you,
nothing
this
in the
whole
queue line.
experience somehow wasn't soured that day by the whole locker situation, shall we say?
Yeah,
But it was
and it
frustrating.
really
It was
frustrates me
annoying.
the locker situations.
I don't find it very secure. I worry.
Definitely.
There were times I was worried, like, okay, so because you pay up front for how long you want the locker for, right? So
Yeah,
what if you end up in that queue? I was just always fretting a bit, like, what if you end up in there for 3 hours and you've only paid for an hour on your locker? And I'm sure it's fine. The locker doesn't
yeah,
spring open, but I have visions like the locker springing open and like all the stuff you put in there to keep secure is no
yeah,
longer secure. It's just not nice, is it? Having your personal
yeah.
valuables, your ID and your money and credit cards and everything. Yeah, there's a better way of doing it. They
No,
let you zip. They have a zipper now, actually, don't they, on the train? They have a zip
no,
pocket on the train. So yeah,
yeah,
which they could have done.
yeah. I agree because I mean the equipment that we carry around
No,
with us isn't cheap, and when they try and say you got to try and get it in this little locker, and you just
yeah,
go, well, my lens is bigger than that locker, so
yeah,
how the hell am I supposed to get it in? You
yeah,
know, it is crazy, really. There is a better way. I think the
yeah, and they were
UK
great at
parks
it.
do it
Really
very
great
well,
at it.
uh,
Thought,
uh, and I think American
yeah,
parks need to look at
yeah.
that
No, you're right about that. I think, yeah, what I
definitely.
see going on at Blackpool with
Uh,
Icon, and a lot of the rides at Thorpe, especially, they're just so beautifully operated. You couldn't really ask for a lot more
yeah,
from the staff, and from whatever's going on behind the scenes. Seem to know what they're doing.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
And
Taron was the one that started it all for me. It
Taron's
was like the
another
most
one.
innovative system ever of putting your bag away and getting it back.
Yeah,
That's very cool.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So yeah, the American trip. I just want to ask you one question. I want to talk about your American trip. That obviously because we only met for the one day, and you carried on to some of the parks that I actually did. I just want to talk to you. I want to know about the story about the petrol.
Oh no. Okay, so
Yes.
we'd hired this beautiful Jeep Wrangler, which was quite nice. I'd had this problem years back when I'd rented a car, not knowing if it was a diesel car or regular unleaded petrol, and didn't get myself into a pickle, but nearly got myself into a pickle that day. But it'd always been something I thought, right, next time I'm in that situation, I need to double check what we're doing. And so I
Yep.
kind of like drive into this petrol station or gasoline, and I'm like, right, I just need to double
Yep.
check. This is definitely a diesel. Let me have a look. Okay, no, it's fine. It's unleaded. And then I'm like, right, I need to make sure that we're at the right petrol pump. And I was just like, I don't know, quite tired, a little bit hazy. I was trying so hard not to make a mistake. That it was almost like you assume you're going to make one, right? And so I
Yep.
pick up what I think's the right petrol pump. I'm pretty sure this is just regular. This isn't diesel. Fine. Put that in. Fill up the car. Put the thing in. I go to walk to pay and turn around. I look at the pump, and all I can see on the pump are signs saying that it's diesel. Right. It's not on the actual handle that I've just used, but all I can see is suddenly it's like an episode of The Simpsons or something, right? Where it all just goes like tunnel vision. And like, yeah, all I can see is just diesel signs
Yep.
and people popping up next to me and angels on my shoulder going, "You filled it with diesel. You just filled it with diesel." And I literally walked in the petrol station at that point and go, "I've just filled the car with diesel. What am I going to do?" And he just looks at me and goes, "You are fucked." Don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this podcast, but that's what he. I
No,
was
yeah,
just
carry
like,
on.
"Oh my
That's
god."
fine.
And like I come out, I look at Ryan, I put my hand on my mouth, almost like at that point, almost sinking to my knees, been like, and he's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I've just filled the car with diesel. I'm sure of it." And like I start to ring the rental company to tell them what I've done, and like we can't turn the car on. Anyone knows that you can't fill your car with the wrong type of petrol. It's just like that's game over generally.
No.
If you start your car and try and drive a mile. So obviously I didn't want to risk it and try and drive a mile. And then I'm literally like, as I'm on my knees, about to break down and cry, I kind of suddenly realise that the petrol pump I've used isn't diesel at all. There's a sign missing on the things that I was looking at before. I've got myself completely confused, completely paranoid. Do suffer from that anxiety as well. And I think it was just this like vicious cocktail of things that just made me look like a complete idiot, basically. But thank you for bringing up that story. Letting me retell it.
It's a classic. It really is. It really is. So if people don't know, so in the UK, our petrol pumps are slightly different, or gas pumps. So we have unlimited, unleaded super, and then we have diesel. Where in America, as you guys know, if you're listening, they basically have one pump, and you click which one you want, and then it's the same nozzle pretty much. So there's loads of different variations, and also they don't really have diesel over there for normal cars. Right. It is generally petrol. So I knew this, and when I found out about Adam having this experience, I was laughing so much that I had to kind of just ask him about it. It was just a brilliant moment. It really was. Just little things, the difference between America and the UK. That that if you really haven't done it before, it's there's things that you can get tripped up on.
Diesel pumps that the ones that there are seem to be like double signposted. Which was playing into it. Plus, I have a diesel car, so I'm always obviously very careful to always fill it up with diesel. And in this case, I was like, "Don't use the diesel." It's so funny, really. Tragic.
It is just brilliant. I mean, I don't know if you went to ones as well where they have TV screens, and as you're filling up, it tells you the news and everything as well. It's just like out of your mind.
Fill the car up again after that, which is quite cool. Which was nice. Yeah, I was very lucky. I think I'd paid that. I could paid that bit so you could just take it back. With whatever it got left in it, so I didn't actually have to fill it up again.
Yeah,
that's probably for the best.
Wow. Yeah. So, what was the highlight of that trip then? So, I know that you went to Kings Island, Chris. I know you filmed a vlog and video, and we'll talk about that in a bit as well. But what was the kind of highlights of that whole trip for you?
To get to Kings Island, it's quite. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's the best day out in the park I've ever had. It was also like hotter than the surface of the sun that day. Kings Island is not a park where there's much shade. And obviously, I've got one, in this case anyway, we see the point it's different in terms of filming stuff. But at Kings Island, I just had one day. And so I'm trying to film stuff, but I'm also trying to get on these wicked rides. And so when it's that hot, like normally I could do it quite easy. Like a day at Fantasyland, I could probably do everything I wanted to do and still have a wicked day and film some stuff. But just add that heat in. And it was quite a busy day as well. So that was it was slightly a bit of a different experience. Again, park I'd like to go back to.
I really enjoyed it actually when I was at Kings Island. I know there's been a few people that's gone and didn't enjoy it, but I did it was a night visit actually. So I think the park opened at like 4 in the afternoon, and then went on to about 12 at night. So I was really lucky in that sense to do it, and it was really quiet. So I met somebody there,
nice.
actually a fan at the time, and they took me around, and. Yeah, I mean, you got Banshee, which a lot of people don't like it, but I actually really enjoyed it.
Doesn't like Banshee. I thought it was a great ride, but I like that kind of ride. Thought it was really smooth. It's kind of my sort of ride, to be honest with you. And what's the hyper coaster? I'm trying to think of the name of
seeing the symbol,
and it's really annoying me that I can't think of the name.
Diamondback.
Ride. I thought that was awesome, absolutely awesome. I wish we had a ride like that in the UK. We don't really.
And the splashdown, you could get some amazing photos of that splashdown.
I've ever got, I think, I got maybe 2 shots of that, which I just thought was so lovely. It just looked beautiful. You can't go wrong really filming something like that. It's quite impactful. Really cool.
I'm going to ask you about another ride there. So, did you go on the Beast when you were there?
I like the Beast. I thought it was cool.
So what did you think?
It didn't blow me away. I'd say like even like Megaphobia in Wales is probably just as powerful a Woody.
Yeah.
It's hard not to be inspired by the size of the thing. And did a lot for Kings Island as well. That roller coaster, a lot of people love it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's the one that you go through a tunnel, right, on the Beast, because there's Mystic Twist. Was it Mystic Timbers next to it? Yeah. It's easy to get those confused. So I rode those back to back. And again, when you do all this in one day and you ride both those rides in an hour, it's all a bit of a blur. But I do remember that tunnel section on the Beast being particularly cool. I could imagine at night that being even more spectacular as a element.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we did it. So they shut the ride down to do the fireworks display, and then afterwards they open it. Yes, and then after that they then open it up, and the queue line is just full of enthusiasts. You generally find everybody in that queue line from that point is an enthusiast, and it's the best overall nighttime ride I've ever done. But I wouldn't rate it in the top 10 if it was just a standard ride. But like having a whole train full of enthusiasts going through the dark at like 11 o'clock at night, it was just incredible. It really was.
It's obviously quite a long track. Do they light up different sections of the track? It's just dark. It's interesting, you know. It's interesting.
No, it's completely dark. Literally completely dark, and the long helix that it does, it's just nice. It just feels like it goes forever.
Or had you ridden it in the daytime before?
Yeah. Cool. No, first time I did it, the guy just went, "There's no point doing it now. We'll wait and we'll just go on it later on." Right? So we did.
When they first built that ride, a lot of the staff, employees of the park, were there one evening, and it was only then when they literally went down, switched it all on. It had just been signed off by all the safety people and everything. And it was about 11 o'clock at night when they switched the lights on for that for the first time, and a lot of the employees of the park and the people that obviously helped pay for it to be there and argue it to be there and get ready to market it and all that sort of thing. That was the first time they ever rode it. So that's quite cool that you got to ride it. And I never got to, but I think it sounds wicked, and I can imagine it being a pretty intense experience.
Yeah, definitely. We touched on earlier on about you going to Disneyland, the California side. You also did a trip recently, didn't you, as well?
That was the same one, I think.
So no, because it was you did Disneyland, and then you did San Diego as well.
It was all in the same sort of week
with Marcus.
A California road trip, but that was Disneyland Resort and Knott's Berry Farm, Legoland, California. Yes. And all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was an unbelievable trip, really.
And you got some inside stuff on some parks there, didn't you? But there's like a picture of you at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge on your own.
That's just Marcus Gaines' phenomenal photography from his 20 experience of being a cameraman, I guess. But somehow, you might think I'm
there we go.
Galaxy's Edge, but that's not true. But he did somehow manage to take a picture of me.
Oh, okay.
There's not one other person in the background of the Millennium Falcon, which is pretty cool. Happy with that. But you took you took one of me in the same.
It is, to be fair.
Still Vengeance, which I also treasure. It's nice to go with people to be able to do these things. Do you know what I mean? It's nice.
Yes, definitely. Let's get on to the YouTube channel. So you've got a YouTube channel. I think it's one of the best YouTube channels out there, and I'm not blowing smoke up you, but I think editing wise, I think you've got one of the best editing skills that I see about the theme park community. I really do, and I love the stuff that you do, and I want to talk about the tales in a bit. So your YouTube channel is a theme park world tour. It's great. There is so many different variations on there, but what did catch my eye when I started to have a look at some other bits on there is that your top video that people have watched is actually not a theme park video. It is, isn't it? It's actually a dance dance
kind of
show
say it's
from
frustrating, but at the
Universal
same time,
Studios.
I kind of think it's a pretty cool thing. So like all content creators will probably have this, and I know you've had it, especially with your Instagram page and stuff.
Yeah,
And I had this at work once where someone came up to my boss, came up to me and said, "Can you make this clip go viral?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's like it's not something you can just conjure up overnight. So there's a lot of luck involved in these things, I
no,
suppose, and just timing, and obviously all things have to come together. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? It has to, the video has to be of good quality, and yeah, there's I guess algorithms, aren't there, and stuff in YouTube. And occasionally you'll get this a
yeah,
video that just might do slightly better than all the others. I've got friends as well, other YouTubers, that've got the most
yeah.
random videos of parks they've been to or rides that they've filmed that have got similar sort of views. But yes, the biggest video on my channel has got 500,000 views, I think, something like that.
It is,
Okay.
yes. It's at
Wow. And that's the
553,000
Jabberwockies who
views.
do a show at
Yeah,
Universal Halloween Horror Nights. And we sat in the front row, and I got my tiny little Sony, more of a compact camera, really. It's like an RX, one of the RX cameras, one of the smaller ones. And
yeah,
just sat there with that in my lap. So you got to think, like all the things I've filmed, Paul, and I've tried to do like gimbal shots,
yeah,
trying to get several roller coasters in shot, all at the right time, keep it in focus, walk
yeah,
with the camera, like you're literally there for half an hour waiting to know when to start walking. And this is me just sitting on your lap, and all those people watch that video,
yeah,
and they don't watch the one you've spent 3 months filming and editing and writing and trying to produce. And it is like, that is quite funny.
yeah.
In a way, I can't. Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up.
I agree. I agree. Yes, because I've only got 671 followers at the moment, so I've only been doing it for 6 months, and I'm quite proud of that. But my top video is actually Disney on Ice, where I filmed the whole thing on my phone. And so there's 130 to 140,000 views that's got now for my little channel, and it's just sometimes it just makes that one video that just makes it and
yeah,
kicks
it's
it
funny.
off,
And then from
fires
that
off for
video,
different
I'd
people.
say the subscriber base of the channel probably doubled in the time since that video got uploaded. And if it means that things are popping up and people are checking out other videos, which seems to be slowly happening as well, that's a cool thing. Do you know what I mean? So I'm glad I filmed that video. People also seem to really like it.
Yeah.
And if my channel's
Yeah.
somewhere for people to come and get some enjoyment out of a dance show, then that's cool with me. Yeah, but it is a weird thing. Like it's not.
Yeah,
Not,
definitely.
it's not really. It was filmed in a theme park, but it's not really a theme park video. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's it. Yeah. So the next video after that, which is your next popular one, was the Tales of Cedar Point, and one of my favourite theme park documentaries actually on YouTube. One, because I love Cedar Point, but second of all, very well done. Absolutely amazing. The kind of the knowledge that you have of that park, bearing in mind, it's not your local park. It's not a park that you kind of go to quite a lot. There's a lot of really good footage in there, and also some really good tips and just kind of history as well.
Yeah,
It must have took you some time to do that.
My favourite one as well, and I'm not going to sit in and try and blow my own trumpet, but you're right in the time that it takes and what you sort of have to go through to make that video. I would say that video, the production values are probably better than the majority of the videos on the channel. Even afterwards, sometimes you put, as a content creator, I think you can put a lot of pressure on yourself. And there was a time where I was always like, oh, the next video has to be better. The next video has to be better. And I don't know if you feel like that. But that's something I'd say, try not to get caught into that too much.
Yeah.
Because there'll be videos where I'm just have a fun day out with family or friends. You might have the camera with you. You might make something out of it. And that's, a very different thing. We also, you and I go to a lot of preview events where you're there for a little bit more of a brief. You've maybe got more of a brief to try and create something that's going to help the park and work with the park and promote their new product. But some of these things I'm doing, these tales of, as we call them, there's 4 of them now on my channel, and I'd say they're almost, apart from the Jabberwockies, these are sort of the flagship videos that the channel's built on, and they can take quite a long time.
They are.
So the Cedar Point one, I think it's a better video because I was there for 5 days at the park, Kings Island for 1 day. So I'd say a day and a half of my trip was just having fun. But even when I'm having fun, I'm looking around thinking, right, what's the best angle to film this ride from? So even that's like, it's almost like an on-the-spot recce.
Yes.
Knowing that I was there to film some stuff. And so I probably had, when I look at all the things I filmed, I'd say I had 2 full days and a half day of just filming, not hanging around with my friends, not hanging around with you, or Ryan or some of the guys we met out there, just on my own, with my camera and my equipment, as we called it earlier, which you can't put in making that thing. And it took, I'd say also, I was saying this to someone else, it all starts with like a script for me, and that's when I know if it's even a viable thing to do. These videos tend to be about an hour long, and I try and cover how, not just how when the park was built, but almost before that. Sometimes I love it. I kind of love to try and find out, okay, there's that bit of land, but what was on that bit of land 20 years before there was a theme park there, or even longer in some cases. And you'll be amazed what you might find out, you know. And people, I think people, real geeks, if you can tell them something they've never heard before, that's even better. Do you know what I mean? People are into like, anything that people are really into. They're really into it. You can't get your facts wrong. You've got to be respectful for all that kind of stuff. So they can take months, like really, I'd say sometimes 3 months from start to finish properly, in terms of working out that script, and then getting to the park and trying to work out how to do it. Really, it's a cool process though. It's something I really enjoy doing. They're very much fanboy. I know I kind of call myself a filmmaker sometimes, which we kind of scoff at, but they're kind of fanboy documentaries, and people seem to get something out of them. And that is what I'm proud of. So I'm really glad, really nice to hear you say that you enjoy it. You're not the only person in our little world of enthusiasts that have singled that out. I know Scott from Pleasure Beach, who's a massive fan of Cedar Point. He's told me he's watched that video a couple of times. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's quite nice, really.
Yeah,
nice
I have.
Hear,
yeah, I did.
So thank you. I appreciate it.
No, definitely. The next one after that, most popular, is actually the Towers one as well. So it was at 39,000. Tales of Towers.
40th birthday. Yeah, I can tweet it at some point, right?
It will get there.
Some views. How vain's that? But there you
go. Yes. I'll get my 680 followers on it, and then that will be it, you know. But that, again, obviously, we talked about the start of the show, about how amazing that park is for everyone, for their, kind of youth. That was I learned stuff. And if that's what you was talking about, just, you want to get people to learn stuff from your videos. And I did that with that one.
Talk about this a bit more, but often try to talk to people within the theme park industry, as well as the enthusiasts and fans of theme parks. And I always think with the former, if you can get through to one person who wants to be a theme park ride designer, or wants to do something in that world, if you can help point them in the right direction, or show them that something that someone did and how they did it and how they might want to be able to do it in the future, I think that's a really powerful thing. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying I have this like massive responsibility to do that. It's my choice that I've started to make these YouTube videos, and how I do it's kind of up to me, to be honest with you. But I feel quite strongly about that. That's quite a nice thing to do. If I was to make that Towers one again, I'd do it quite differently. But it's also part of the learning process. Do you know what I mean? I think when you look at the Cedar Point video versus the Alton Towers one, there's a big difference there in the production values and kind of how I've done it. It's not to say don't like the quirkiness of it sometimes, they're all very homemade. But I'd probably do it a little bit differently if I was to do it again.
I'd be more than happy just to have the Towers one as one of my flagship ones, to be fair. My editing goes a little bit like,
as I said, it kind of, come about. I told my mum that I was going to do it one day, and John Wardley was a real sort of hero of mine. The more I learned about Alton Towers as a kid back then, when I started going for the first time, when they were building Oblivion, in the actual documentary, there's this guy walking around who they'd employed as they were building Oblivion to sort of put people off the scent and be a bit of an actor, and this is no-go zone. And I remember actually talking to that guy. And so to be like putting the footage in from an older BBC documentary and my little documentary, of a guy that I'd even seen in the park all those years before, little things like that, kind of cool, and just maybe gives it, I don't know if personal touch is the right word, but the fact that that place was clearly in my blood, and I think that, however, whatever way you swing it, that comes out in the video we made, I reckon, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely. I remember
Nice.
that guy as
No,
well.
no,
I
that's
even
right.
spoke
That's
to
right.
him,
It's
and
quite
he
amusing.
was
He'd
not saying
probably
anything.
probably get abused by school kids like constantly,
Yeah,
sticks thrown at him and things. But
yeah. So you got Tales of King's Island,
yeah,
and one that you just recently released, actually. And so 9 months
yeah,
ago, you released a
I have.
trailer on your YouTube channel. 9 months it was,
Yeah,
about the Tales of Fort Park, and it got everybody talking for a bit, waiting for this video. And you know, 9 months later, this video appears, Tales of Fort Park, and I watched it the other night, and it actually triggered me then to message you and say, I'd love to have a chat to you about it, because um, on my website, I tried to do a little bit of history about certain parks, and Fort Park was one of them, which is, I really love Fort Park. It's one of my close parks that I go to. And some of the stuff that you talked about and some of the footage that you used in that video, um, I've never
nice.
even seen or even heard
That's cool.
of.
I'm
I'd
actually
love
quite
to know
glad to
where
hear
you
that.
get that
It's like
information from.
I'd say it's the hardest one to make because, and it's no disrespect, because of the Thorpe Park fanboys. That's what I'm going to call them, who are a broad collective of genius and lovely theme
Yeah.
park enthusiasts. But they're very, very passionate about the park and all the things that have happened and when they've happened, and exactly how they've happened. And you'd never want to get one of those facts wrong. So that's one of the reasons I'd love to have made that video a long time ago.
Yeah.
And there's a few reasons why it's out now. One, because you kind of want to get everything right and try really hard. Probably still, I know there's at least one mistake in it, which I can point out, and
Yeah.
you can tell me if there's some others. But yeah, try and get it right. I would have loved to have worked a bit closer with the park on it, which was a possibility. But with everything that's going on right now in the world, it's just, that's not something I saw viable. So I kind of thought, also with everything going in the world, it would be quite nice to release this video that like you said, people have talked about. It's the only video I've had messages on my Instagram, on my Twitter.
Yeah.
People have asked me like, when's this video coming? I really want to watch this video. Your Alton Towers one's great. Your Cedar Point one's great. And I appreciate I'm now blowing smoke up my ass. But that's the reality
Yeah.
of it. Do you know what I mean? I started to feel like people would like to see this video. So I
Mhm.
decided to finish it. And it's also late because I went to California and did a few other things and was making those videos, which I just wanted to make. And well, I kind of stewed on how exactly to do the Thorpe Park one. And as you said, it's taken quite a long time to find some of that footage. I think I've got 4 people who have given me cine film from almost when the park had just opened, right through to stuff from the 80s and the 90s. And it's lovely now. I love people, and I love it too. People do sometimes love, in this world we live in, it's quite ironic. People have got 8K televisions now, but people are loving watching my 1991
Yes.
VHS footage of people going down a log flume. And that's just there's something so cool about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad. I think that's what people do love about the
Yes.
part of these videos that I make, and I've tried to do that now in all of them. I've tried to make them similar in terms of there's always a
Yeah.
few beats where we'll go back in time, generally via handy musical montage, and look at some of the old stuff, and it's really cool. And
Yeah.
also, I have to give a shout out to the Egham by Runnymede Historical Society. And that's another thing. The people that have helped me with this, you'd be amazed. Like, there's a lady who works for them 3 days a week. She's
Yeah.
got access to a library, and over a
Crazy.
period of about, I don't know, not that long, maybe 6 weeks, talking to her on email, she's sent me quite a nice story about the land and the house, and about 8 or so images I could use if I gave them a credit, which I have. And that's just cool. Yeah, it's really nice to find that stuff out.
It's just unbelievable to
What were the
find out
things
these things, as you go
had
along,
never
isn't
known
it?
before, or never seen, or that most surprised you, or you got most of a kick out of it? If I may ask, I'm interested.
Well,
Yeah,
weirdly,
yeah, yeah, yeah. A
I
lot of
knew
people
about the
are interested.
RMC bit, so that didn't throw me. I knew about that bit. Um, the one question I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
ask about the swarm and the dummies. Now, I always thought that was
No, that's
true,
definitely in
but
my
you saying it
fairly
isn't.
long-term experience working in marketing, I would say there was a lot of spin on that story. Yeah, which might disappoint loads of people, but yeah, I think that's pretty
Yeah.
much like what you call a Daily Mail alleged paid-for piece. Yeah.
Right. because I've got it on my website that there was a real thing,
Yeah, I'm
so I might take that away.
Okay.
I fell for that one. This the advertisements really.
Yeah.
So obviously you had
Yeah.
X No Way Out advertisements in there. You know, it was just it was really kind of
One
refreshing
thing
to
I've
see
touched on
some of the
in some of
some
my
of the
videos, I've touched on how
advertisements.
Thought Park have
I think,
actually mirrored and copied Cedar Point a lot. With some of those adverts, it's really interesting. If you look at adverts for Raptor at Cedar Point, and then you look at an advert for the Swarm.
yeah,
I'd like people pause this podcast now. Do come back to it. Go and look at those two videos and come back, and you will see that as amazing as Thought Park are as a marketing team, they were definitely taking a leaf out of some people in America's book, which has happened, since the dawn of time in marketing. Do you know what I mean? America often leads, but I found that really fascinating. When I'm making the thought, I found that fascinating.
It makes sense.
I'm starting to see, making some of these videos, even the marketing campaigns from different parks around the world have either similarities or they do things differently, and yeah, it's cool. It's really cool finding that stuff.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It was refreshing, to say I'll go there quite a lot. Some of the stuff, some of the tracking of actually the rides as well that
cool.
you
I'd
do.
love to, I'd
fantastic
love to
work, absolutely fantastic.
1 or 2 more days at Thought Park. I was going to go on the opening day, talk to a few more enthusiasts, and also, hopefully there was a few other rides. A few of the rides I had a few other ideas of shots that I didn't get to do, but doesn't mean I can't go back one day and do them. They're just not in the they're not in the documentary. But yeah, I'm really glad. I'm glad I did it. It was like a bit of a monkey off the back as well. Do you know what I mean? Getting that video out. But people quite like it. And the teacup ride I love.
Yeah.
If you look at the history of the teacups, and I wanted to have more fun with that.
Yes.
I'm not really in the
it's crazy
video much, but if I was going to be in it, I had plans to film myself outside the teacup ride, just doing some links from there, because every time the teacup ride changed, within 6 to 12 months, they were suddenly building a new roller coaster or changing a ride for the better or doing something really cool. And I just so you got, Thought Park enthusiasts, if you're a fanboy, keep an eye on the teacups. And if the sponsorship changes or the ride changes in any way, something cool is probably about to happen at Thought Park. I doubt it's an RMC.
Wow. There we go. No, there's a lot of people still trying to go for it, but it's just not going to. I don't think it's going to happen there. Definitely not.
Rather than later.
Yeah, definitely. I think an independent. I won't go into it too much. It's another podcast, but I think an independent more than a chain. That's what I think anyway.
Right.
2 other questions really, just before we finish. So the John Wardley interview. What a fantastic interview and an insight
I wrote
into
to him, told him a few things that happened in my life and why I'd started to make these videos and what I wanted to do. And he was just incredibly supportive and gave me a couple of hours of his time. And I went to his house, obviously fairly prepared. I read his book many times, watched a lot of stuff that he'd been on TV before, and he made me a cup of tea, and I set my cameras up, not really knowing what I was doing. But I think the key to that was, again, I grew up at a time when he was building these rides. He was the guy on Blue Peter and News Round that they wheeled out all the time. They still do wheel him out. He did some work on Wicker
They do, They always go to them first.
I was there, which I thought that was amazing. We talked and had a really nice chat. And as you said, I think we covered everything I needed to cover to make that video. There's times I lie awake at night thinking, why didn't I ask him this and that? And I think ultimately he's probably kind of done talking about those rides and his time Merlin and that sort of stuff. I've kept some correspondence with him. And the impression I get, I think he's much more inclined to enjoy his retirement, and we should let him. And he's been very kind to let me use some of that footage and other videos. We have, as well as in the Thought Park thing, there's the John Wardley webisodes on the channel, and there's a bit more in those interviews that you see in the hour-long tale of. There are like 10 episodes which take you through his life. He started working on James Bond films before he was working on theme park rides. And that's all pretty cool. He worked on Man with a Golden Gun, some of the laser effects for that. It's amazing, really. He's always a showman, always behind the scenes. That's what I find fascinating about characters like that. Yeah, he's behind the curtain. Do you know what I mean? But he's pulling the strings, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's another great video to watch on your channel, isn't it? It's a great insight. To be fair, you said you was very nervous. It was a very well put together interview, actually. And
I think I had
he
a
led the
GoPro on
camera very
table
well.
and
To be
a
fair,
camera on a tripod and some separate audio set up. I just tried my best. Stuff that I'd learned like when I was a student, 20 years before. As I said, I've got media production qualifications, but like a lot of people that want to work in film and be film directors, you end up working in marketing, which is what happened. And I don't regret a minute of kind of my real job and my real career. And that's always been fairly creative. But I kind of have always needed more of a creative outlet, and Theme Park World Tour has done that. And I've kind of got to meet some really cool people and got to do some amazing experiences, which is great. Yeah, and John Wardy's a massive part of that, and I'm eternally thankful for the time I spent with him, really. And yeah, again, people enjoy that interview, and who knows, some kid might watch that video one day and think I could design roller coasters. My daughter Cassie designs a roller coaster every week.
Yep.
And we'll see where that goes.
Oh, really?
Never know.
Yes, you never know. Never know. So that's my questions for theme parks. I've actually got a separate question. Me and you go back quite a bit in terms of we're very similar. I said that at the start of the interview. So today is a very special day, and I wonder if you know what that very special day is.
I don't know. It's really bad. You're going to shame me now. You're going to shame me.
Okay.
Of course, it's WrestleMania.
I am. So today is WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So
that's right.
I actually this time last year I was at WrestleMania, and you kind of knew someone that worked there. We kind of tried to make something happen. It was just too late. And well, welcome to Happy WrestleMania Day. Anyway, I know it's a totally different thing altogether. But yeah, I mean, you used to do some work for them, didn't you, and that kind of stuff as well?
Cool, because back then I used to get I think WWE Raw, which was broadcast in America on a Monday night and we didn't used to broadcast it in the UK until a Friday, but I used to sit and watch the feed, and I'd be the guy who would be recording the live feed. I used to work for Sky as a VT operator. So yeah, I was kind of like involved with that, and started to get to go to live shows, and got to know a few of the people that work behind the scenes. And yeah, we tried to get you a little behind the scenes VIP tour. It didn't quite work out on this occasion, but that's not to say we can't try and make that happen one day in the future.
No. No, definitely not. I was just blown away. I was like, I'm going to, and then you just messaged me. I was like, I used to work for him. Leave it with me. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be amazing. So, but yeah, I mean, it was an absolutely fantastic. And what a year on, what a difference we are in this place. Crazy is. Adam, thank you so much for your time. It's been a long one, but I think it's actually documented really well. And I wanted to get over some of the stuff that you've done and understand a little bit about you as well. You've always been a really good friend to me in terms of theme parks and stuff like that. And every time I always see you at a park, we always catch up, say hello, get on some rides together. We do. So
you can check
just want to kind of finish off. So where can people find you?
Facebook, which is at Theme Park WT. And if you want to check out the YouTube videos that we've been talking about, it's Theme Park World Tour on YouTube. Please do subscribe and turn your notifications on.
Yeah, perfect. That's it. So yeah, I'll what I'll do is I'll post the your Instagram channel on mine. Get that put on there as well, and obviously we'll try and get that Tales of the full park up as well.
That'd be nice.
And then get the Alton Towers one to 40,000 follow things. That'd be really nice for their anniversary as well.
No worries, man.
But yeah, thank you, Adam. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll have to catch up again soon. There's so much more we could talk about.
No worries. Speak to you again soon.
Thank you for being the first guest.
Bye.